Alright, Ben, so what do you have for us today?
Well, Jason, I have Cities Skylines.
Awesome stuff.
1.07b, to be specific. Games like this can change a lot, so it's best to state the actual version.
Okay.
And I'm on top of the Squirrel Donut place, I think. What is this place? Mega Shopping Centre. That seems like the kind of thing they'd have on there.
Sure, why not?
Okay, so...
Tell us what this is all about.
Well, we're in Belmont Heights of my city. The city that you build.
That's quite a city.
Yep, it's Gremlinville as the actual city name.
So obviously you have a bustling city at the moment, so how did you get to this point?
Well, it took a very long time, to 87,000, which is kind of higher than the game. I consider it to gain completion. It's not really, because you can play forever.
Is that your population?
Yeah, in population of people. Right now I've gotten 150 ish people in. That'll go down and up depending on everything that's happening. Right now they've actually started demanding more stuff again, which is kind of cool. Maybe we can make a little suburb out here or something like that.
So obviously a city building game.
Yes.
With all kinds of management.
Yeah, so you've got the standard city management, you've got public transport management, you've got certain sort of not public transport, like, you know, yeah, cargo harbors and cargo train stations and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You've got sort of, it's almost a complete traffic manager, where the traffic is terrible.
Right.
Or doesn't work properly. But yeah, I'll start.
So where did
I guess.
Yeah, where did you start on the map?
Okay, so I started very close to Belmont Heights. I started here.
Right.
So the game has areas that you can see, little squares.
Mm-hmm.
The first square was here in the middle, and since then I've had the opportunity to purchase more land in the various squares around this area, and that you get that from going to your, what is it, areas. When a area is available,
Mm-hmm.
it will appear on here as purchasable. They're actually pretty cheap.
How and when do those become available?
They become available when you reach a certain state in your city's development.
Yeah.
Basically, that's determined by population. I'm just trying to see. Nope. Just going to see where my there it is. Milestones. So I'm a megalopolis. That's kind of the end milestone.
That sounds pretty big.
Yeah, so you can go back through all the different versions, and each one of these you basically get a square available, a tile, I believe they're called.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, 2 by 2 kilometer.
All right. Go to the start.
Okay.
So
Little
you
hamlet?
start as a little hamlet.
No. You
become-
start as I don't know what, and this is a little hamlet is a milestone.
Right. Okay.
Where if you have 400 people, you get basic stuff.
Okay.
So you want me to go through various things that you can build in the city?
Sure. Tell.
Okay, so we'll start on roads. Roads fairly simple, just road building. This is a straight road building. As you can see, this is kind of like a block, these squares.
Mm-hmm.
And when you place something, you get tiles on which to zone.
Okay.
Some roads don't do that. Some roads, like the freeway stuff, just build. They don't have tiles because they're, you know, they're not meant to be built next to.
Oh, okay.
And then you've got here, you've got intersections, which are basically prefabricated things that you may want to put down
Like
multiple
templates.
times. Yeah. So I'm not going to put that down. And I have a template for basically a freeway roundabout that I use pretty much everywhere around here.
Okay.
Like there's one there. Edited one, but yeah. The roads also have the ability to do curves, so you do one here that, yeah, it basically
Auto
snaps.
curves for you.
Yeah, basically where you want the curve to be placed, it'll curve it fairly straightforward. And this is one that it's basically the same tool, except it's much more flexible. If you go like that and place something, it'll automatically put the curve tool on again.
Okay.
Whereas the other one, this one, doesn't actually do that. You create a curved road and it's done. And then you go back to either straight or curved.
Oh, okay.
I've noticed the terrain pretty much deforms back to where it was. I haven't seen any like permanent terrain deformation. That I can see anyway.
What tools do you have to deform the terrain?
None.
None?
The roads themselves is all that happens, and it goes back to normal when you actually remove them again. So that's kind of deformed the terrain to make that flat and level. But
So you can't make mountains or anything like that?
no, there's no terrain deformation at all. There is a mod, however, as this game has modding support, that allows you to change the terrain. So you got that.
Okay, cool.
You've also got an upgrade road thing, so you choose the road type you want, and you can upgrade it. And you can upgrade it from a one-way to two-way, or two-way to one-way, if you really want to.
Is that really upgrading or just changing?
That's changing in that case. That was originally not available in the first version of the game, but since then it's been added in a patch. So this is, I don't know, that kind of looks different, but maybe it's not. It's hard to tell.
Doesn't really matter too much.
And the trees pretty much go back. So I'll put a road back, because I have to explain this next bit. Whoops, there we go. Here we have zoning, so you've got low density residential, high density residential, low density commercial, high density commercial, industry, office, and clear a zone. So,
Okay.
and the default tool is basically a fill thing. You've got the marquee, which is to select. You can right click to delete in a selection. You've got a small brush where you paint them, and a big brush where you just paint the whole thing if you want. Which is much quicker, but a little bit harder if you want to.
Do you have to make a zone, or can they make their own sort of zone and just build anywhere?
No, you have to make a zone for that, unfortunately.
So nothing will build there until you make it a zone?
It'll be blank. It'll be blank with trees, basically, in most cases. So the low density is sort of for houses and things. The high density is larger residential buildings and whatnot. Your
Like
commercial,
like apartments?
yeah, like apartments. It varies. The game just places what it wants. The low density commercial is like your side street, your street side stores, and it requires. I don't know if. Oh god, they're actually trying to live there. I don't know if that's a good idea, but they require workers. The two commercial zones.
Yep.
They are. The low density commercial basically requires uneducated citizens, and the high density one requires educated ones.
Right, okay.
So you may find that the game will ask for commercial, and you'll place, say, low density or high density commercial, and one of them will complain about not enough workers, and that's either because your workers don't have an education or are overeducated.
Right, okay.
But if there is no choice of jobs, they will go to the overeducated people will go to the no education
Yep.
places. Industry, commercial also uses resources, so they'll import goods if they need them. But if you make industry, they will import them from there. And this all uses the roads and the cargo stuff that I showed you earlier. Industry is industry is a little bit of a complex one. Let me just give you more road.
They're going crazy with the building.
They are, and it's a terrible place to live. Out here, next to the sewer reclamation area, or whatever it is. So the industrial is, by default, it's sort of automatic industrial. Various different types. It'll put whatever it wants there. And that's mainly for uneducated workers or workers with low education. And office is basically a high, an educated workers
Hospitals.
industry. Sorry?
Hospitals and offices, or
Oh yeah,
architects.
officers.
Yep.
For that. For jobs, anyway. I'm sure the hospitals hire people, but haven't actually seen.
Do you make police stations and that sort of thing?
Yep, I'm getting to that. It's very, it can be a little deep, this game. So I might as well show districts next, because that goes into what I was just talking about. Industry is, so if I make a district, industry has some sort of district specific options. So here I can tell the game that Foggy District, or the people rather in the game, is a forestry place. And that means only forestry industries can grow. So that one just shut down because it wasn't allowed to be, I think it was a mining, an ore industry or something.
Oh, okay.
So that's now building a forestry industry.
Right.
And that's just in that area.
Does that mean it has to be like a green business or something like that?
Yeah, anything to do with forestry, basically. The farming is sort of farming and farm products, but it requires all of these specific types require resources. So as you can see, farming requires fertile land. Forest requires renewable forests, so all the forest areas kind of renewable, you can keep using them forever. The oil and the ore industries are obviously non-renewable. So once you've placed your industry, after a while it'll disappear.
Oh, okay.
And you can see the areas by looking at the natural resources. This is a little overlay tool. I do like the overlays, they're very cool.
Cool.
White stuff. So this is oil and forest. There's actually a big oil and forest area in my city.
Whoa.
But I refuse to put any oil in.
Why?
Because that's awful.
It's rich soil.
I know, it's
dig it up.
Very, very rich soil, and no. Fertile land here, but I am not allowed to go there because I don't own it. But there is some here, so I've got a bunch of farms.
Cool.
It's a lot easier to show you some of this stuff.
I had
in the
no
actual
idea
city.
it would have had that level of detail for that.
Yeah, so if I look at the districts, this Chester district is set, Chester district and Broad Heights are set to farming.
Okay.
It doesn't, it says it here. Oh, there it is. The farming icon.
The tractor.
On both, yeah, the tractor. Everyone's farming icon. So yeah, that's just that. This area is a forestry area, so you should probably keep those. I have a big issue with industry not having enough workers because I have schools everywhere. So this will be interesting because this little weird island community has no power or water.
It looks like they're complaining about the power and the water situation.
They're complaining about it, but it seems fine because they built their houses and nothing bad has happened apparently. But we should give them power. So you get power from this little menu. I've got all the power plants unlocked. So it goes all the way from, your power lines, which you need to get power to places. So here we've got a power line from my energy producing area to the dam to the city, basically. A precarious link over the freeway that I damage a few times, but yeah, so I'll just extend the power. They can be on the grid.
Simple as that.
Yep. In a few seconds, there we go. So they've all got power now. All these power, they're renewable energies, of course, wind turbines, advanced wind turbines that sort of, they use water and wind or something. Kind of like dams do with the water and wind turbines do with the wind.
Yep.
It's sort of, yeah. And solar, I guess. It's weird. Then coal power plant and oil power plant, so that uses the resources that you've got. The hydropower plants, which are kind of cool, you can sort of dam up. I can't because things are in the way at the moment, but you can actually put dams in. So yeah, I could put a dam in and mess up with this whole sewage situation.
Deary man.
At the moment, it's not doing anything, but the water's sort of draining out slowly. So it has water physics.
That's cool.
And the water's sort of going up a little bit. But the main thing is, because it's got water physics, it actually requires the, basically for water to go through the dam, there needs to be higher water on this side than this side, or something like that, from what I've gathered. It can be very precarious with that stuff. But as you can see, it's sort of draining out slowly. But because the water can get through here, and it can sort of go out here, that's not actually doing anything. The water's just going elsewhere.
Right.
You dammed it. Least resistance, basically. So I might as well delete this dam and hope that it doesn't cause a tidal wave. Everything's fine, I think.
Oh my god.
Everything's fine. I'll show you something else later, but for now, it's very slow, but it does look pretty cool when you look at stuff like that after a while. This will be fine. This is a high coast. It won't cause any damage.
Water.
They do have no water, so I'll get to that now. So you've got water, and of course, you know, it goes all the way up to nuclear power plant, which I've turned mine off because I don't need it. And it's expensive. The solar panels are the cheapest power in the game. Per megawatt, that is.
Okay, so they produce a lot.
Yeah, so you've got you do have to put the pipes across. So I just quickly put a pipe for them. That's all connected up to the water grid. So you've got two sort of sides of the water. You've got water, which is from water towers, and from water pumping stations, which the water tower is, I think it's more susceptible to like pollution and stuff, but it's a lot cheaper to get water. Actually, I have no idea. It says this for areas that don't allow a water pumping station. They use the same amount of power each. So this must be built on the edge of the water. I would not put one there, that's for sure.
Why is that?
A little bit polluted there.
Oh, okay.
You've got the water drain pipe, which is a nice way of saying sewer drain. Sewer drain straight into the water. So we won't be putting that down. I have water treatment plants, as you can see. And as you can see in the top left, I forgot to explain it for the electricity. But for the water, you see water availability. So right now I've got pretty good water availability and pretty good sewage treatment. So in a little while, I'll have to build another one of these. And I'm running out of room to place them at the moment. So I need to place them where the current is so that it gets rid of my pollution.
Okay, yeah. Oh, bit of a streak there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a streak, and it's not 100% going where I want it to, which is a shame. But these people seem happy. There's no workers, but whatever. Nobody has any education, which makes sense. So I'll just connect them up to their little water tower. It's a lovely little place now. And the electricity, I've got plenty of electricity available. Okay, another thing you gotta do is deal with garbage. You've got landfills, which sort of, you know, you gotta place them on roadsides. There's a lot of stuff that you have to place on roadsides.
Okay.
It can get a little tricky with that stuff. And items that you place...
It makes sense though.
Yeah.
Can you have dirt roads?
Yeah, you can. I didn't show that, but there's a dirt road here.
Just a, cheap little road.
It's basically the simplest road. Apparently they're pretty good, but like for what they do. Very simple. I should have had the dirt road out here actually, because I've just put that down because these need service. But your garbage is another service. It uses the roads. I'll try and put it here without demolishing too much. But yeah, if you put a garbage thing down, it'll send out trucks. And it'll get the rubbish from all of these places and deliver it back to here, and this will slowly fill up over time.
What happens if it fills up?
If it gets full, you can't take any rubbish there anymore. And that's about it. It becomes full and that's it.
Can you delete it?
You can, but you have to empty it first. So there's options here. There's move, which you can't do if you've got anything in it, but you can do if it's empty. And you can empty it. So if you tell it to empty, the garbage trucks will come out of it and basically send it to any other landfill or facility that is accepting rubbish.
Right, okay.
So if you transition to this little guy, the incinerator plant, which everyone was just very pleased to see appearing in the town, you'll actually you can basically empty it into the incinerator and then delete it.
Okay.
If that's what you want. But there's a as you can see, the green line is basically the roads. How much availability of garbage collection there is, how much garbage is removed from the areas. So if you see around my city, I've got a ton of availability. All the roads are pretty much green, some of them not so green. As you can see, it changes. If it tells you how much you'll benefit from placing something. So that's why it's lighting up green, because this area is not the best for garbage pickup, but yeah, it still gets some, so I'm just leaving it. This area gets very, very little, and if I was to place one, it's not letting me. But if I was to place one,
they'd be happy.
They would be probably much happier than they are. It's probably why they have such low land values, because they don't have basic services. But that's a meaty park for you. That's a awful area to live. I wouldn't recommend it. We'll go on to, and garbage, you can see the landfill usage. Landfill usage. And that sort of increases depending on how many landfills you have, how full they are. The incinerator is basically how many stuff that you can incinerate at once. Or at one time, basically. I'm going to delete these because it's going to cause some issues with the water. And they don't...
Someone was happy to see it go.
Yeah, they probably all were. I just demolished that, it's fine. And sometimes, some things, but not all things, will actually de-zone when you put them down.
Is that a bug or a feature?
I'd call it a feature, sure. They all need health, so you've got clinic, hospital, cemetery, and crematorium. So you handle health and, or life and death, in other words. So you give them health, and basically the difference between these two is this one is small area, this one's bigger area.
Yep.
And they have a certain amount of ambulances, I believe. Oh no, patient capacity. So 100, 500. And cemetery is the same. Cemetery has hearses, that it sends out to get dead people.
Bring out your dead.
Collect dead people. That's what they do. They collect them. And the crematorium is sort of flagged.
Does that have a capacity or a...
It does. The cemetery has a capacity. The crematorium has a availability.
A queue.
It's basically the incinerator plant for people.
And that's the garbage tip. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and this is the garbage tip. Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
From what I've
Life
seen.
and death. So how can you judge an area? Like how many people are in that? Like, do you have a population for the district that you can see that you need to service, or?
Like if you want to see the population.
Yeah. How do you tell if you need just a small little hospital or a?
You just have to sort of play it by ear. If you need capacity on something, you have to add more. If areas of your city are not green on the road, then you need to add more. And if so, they'll have over here the health. We'll say health is high, health is low. In these two buildings, health is high.
Right. Okay.
So they've got, it's very efficient and health is high. So death health. This is health. Seemingly.
Death health and health.
Death health and health. Yes, exactly. So move on to the standard fire safety. Shows the hazard, fire hazard. Right now it's pretty bad here because if a fire starts, nobody's going to put it out.
Nobody
so
at all.
Give them a fire department. This is just a bigger one, but it has more fire engines. So it says 6, it says 25. Fairly straightforward. You just got to be careful how many where you put them and how many you put down, because that may end up with a lot of fire trucks in your city just wandering around. Police is basically the same as the fire. Do it, see the crime rate. In this game, the crime is always low. I'm not entirely sure if it's a bug or not, but
no crime sprays.
No. Crime is very strange. Unlike a lot of other city simulation games, crime doesn't really. It's not.
Not a big factor in it.
Well, it could be a big factor, but it's just it doesn't show up as being a big thing. Like it's always low, no matter what. Like my entire city.
So if you make a shitty poor area that's just covered in industrial, they won't result to crime.
I don't know. It's so easy. This game is surprisingly easy at making people educated and happy.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say it's something that I haven't really seen, but it's so easy to keep your crime rate low. You put like one police station once your city gets like massive, and it seems to be enough. But the main factor with it is house prices. So if there is lots of police stations, house prices go up.
Yeah.
Which is true for every service in the game. So you'd want to put police stations everywhere anyway. But for crime, not an issue, seemingly. And you got your education. These are actually split up between elementary school, high school, and university. So they all have capacities, and I found the schools are the only thing that, well, apart from the rubbish, the only thing that really stretch your capacity.
Okay.
And I'll get to the other part of that, which is budgeting, in a little bit. So they're all happy putting that down. This is basically gets you education for people working high density and office. So sort of to get through the game, get much higher in the game.
Yeah.
To put down that stuff. Transport. Well, this is a big area. So you make a bus depot for a bus, and you put down stops.
Cool.
It's a very simplified transport thing, but it's pretty good other than the interface. They made Cities in Motion.
Yep.
The City in Motion games. So they actually know a thing or two about city simulation. So you put a bus depot down, and then they have buses. So this holds, oh no, this doesn't. Oh, that's right. It's based upon your funding level, how many buses there are. So if you put a bus down, so this will place a bus stop, and you can see the line as you drag it around. So we'll go there, or we'll go there, or there.
So you're basically setting the route with those.
Yeah, and this
routes with those stops.
This is possibly the simplest one to do it with as well. So you do that, and then you'll be done, and then buses will start coming out, depending on how much funding you have. And I might as well use this to show the system of following, how detailed such things are.
Mm-hmm.
So you can follow any bus or any person. There's nobody's out at the moment, apparently, which makes sense. But yeah, the bus is going around. It's telling me how many passengers there are, distance traveled, etc., and you can modify the line. I don't know how that works exactly, other than deleting. There's no options. It says line color, but that doesn't really do anything as far as I can see.
Yeah.
And it might be the bus shelters, I'm not too sure. But it'll tell you how many car trips saved, basically, which is a factor of basically reducing car population, which I'll get to in the actual city.
So yeah, okay.
In a little bit, because that's a big issue. The metro one is a little different. If you put a metro station down, you can then connect it up to tunnels, build tunnels. It's very sharp tunnels, but whatever. And then you do a line. So you go create a new line, and then let's complete it. No, you can't complete it on the one line, but you basically create a line. But you use this kind of like the bus stop tool, but you have to have stations in place. The only thing I have a problem with is the metro stations, you can't move them easily. If you need to move them, you actually have to make a new one. Connect it up to the system, and then change your metro line, and then delete it. You can't just, even if you wanted to move this a little bit, it'll just like break the line completely.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And disappear the actual station stop on the line. So yeah, it's a little, but it does let you move it, but you can't put it back where it was, and you have to put it on a. You have to put this on a road as well. It won't work when it's not near or on a road. You have to place it on a road, and if you delete the road, you have to replace the road with sort of a road that is close. Okay. I've seen them use it even when it's not directly connected to the road. So I'll just delete the rest of this. Bulldozing is fairly standard in this game. I shouldn't have to explain it, I don't think. The interface is, I think I can delete it, no? Oh yeah, right click delete stops, by the way. I forgot to tell you that. Trains and ships, I'll kind of explain them together. Trains have cargo and passenger stations. Ships have cargo and passenger harbors.
Okay.
Cargo is for basically inter-town or inter-city transport. So I've got one here. Trains will come from elsewhere in the city, or sorry, elsewhere in the world. Well, probably in the regional area, but they're made up. Trains will come in, they'll drop off goods, and trucks will come out the other side to deliver goods to your industry.
Okay, so import-export.
Yeah, import-export kind of stuff.
Awesome.
And your industry will automatically send goods to it as well.
Okay.
You don't have control over the cargo stuff. So the same is for the ships, the cargo ports. Industry will send stuff to it. Industry will receive stuff from it, but it's not connected. You don't do anything with it.
Okay.
It's just automatic.
Any capacity to those, or?
I don't think so. It just allows your industry to work better. So mine's pretty good because I've got a few cargo ports and I've got a few cargo train stations. I've got a train line running up the center of the freeway, sort of here, and connected to the lines that appear automatically on the map,
Okay.
which are connected to the outside world.
Oh, okay.
The train system is a bit weird. You can end up with a lot of chaos, a lot of train chaos. Right now everything's running pretty good. My passenger train's fine, and there's cargo trains going to Spring Valley, it seems, from my place. So that's kind of cool.
Can you tell just by the different colors, or are they different lines?
What?
The trains.
Well, this is a cargo train because it looks like a cargo train.
Okay, so it's because it's green and.
Yeah. Easily look by the color. Green is cargo train. Red is always the passenger train. And passengers for the ships, the harbour rather, and actually not for the harbour. The harbour is the same as the other thing. You can't do routes. But with the train lines, you can do train stations and connect them up, similar to the metro lines. But they will also take passengers from outside the world.
Okay.
Automatically by these train lines. So you'll see random passenger train. Yeah, there's random passenger train there going off elsewhere, out of the world, out into the world rather.
Okay.
So that's them. You that uses the line tool to set a line. It's basically the same as the trams.
Yep.
And the ships are fairly straightforward. You have to have them be able to connect to the shipping channel. So I can't put it there because it can't see the shipping channel from here.
Right.
And you have to place them on the actual side of the ocean, basically. This is not letting me put it anywhere. Also, it's outside of the city. Outside of the area that I'm allowed to build anyway. So, yeah, it's a weird. Oh, there we go. I'd be able to place it there, for example.
Okay, cool.
And last but not least, the airport, which is quite large when you're trying to build it in the city, and requires flat terrain and must be sort of low. So it says slope too steep, for example, on this area, and it's not that steep. And it has to be placed against the roads. It makes things very tricky. But I've got one here that I built first. Then I built a suburb around it. This takes passengers from outside again. Brings them in, sends them out. So as you can see,
Plane goes through the
freeway.
That's a very snaky freeway.
It is. So you can build freeway from the road tool. This is the freeway section. Cars can go a lot faster on it. They also don't stop. There's no stop signs or traffic lights, obviously. That's fairly standard understandings of how freeways work.
Fairly common practice.
Yeah. So yeah, I've created connections to this side and to here and all sorts. You need to do a lot of stuff like that in this game. It can be very tricky to get traffic working well. And last but not least, decorations. So these are various things you put in the city to make people happy, give them leisure. At the moment, as you can see, my city is practically a utopia in that regard.
What's all the purple things?
Those are the other ones that you've placed.
Oh, they're
That's
just
why.
the active leisure.
Yeah, the ones that are there. Apart from this area, they don't have one. Right now I'm on the latest version, as I said. The Japanese garden is free for everyone. It's originally a special thing that they had for people that sign up to their newsletter at the start. I'm gonna put one here. Unless you're running the latest patch, you may not have access to it. It's kind of glitchy until this patch, and then in this patch it's available completely.
Okay.
It's a cool little one because the other ones aren't very small. There's one that's the same size, I think. Yeah, this one's the same size-ish. Kinda. It's a bit bigger. But yeah. This one's... Nope, that one's still bigger. Interesting. I thought they were, yeah, a good size. Oh well. So yeah, they can be tricky to place. And you can't... Yeah, you can't build, like, stuff near them. They block out these zones. As is expected.
Okay.
And you've got paths. So you've got not passengers, people paths. So you can put paths places but not there because...
Does it really matter to place paths, or...?
I haven't placed any paths in my city. People use them, and they probably use them to walk places instead of drive, but I honestly haven't done anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the need.
Okay.
And you can place individual trees. It would have been really nice to have like a random and hold down tree thing where you just spray trees, but unfortunately no tool for such things. But you can place individual trees, and you can make it look alright if you change your tree up and just sort of do it randomly.
I'm sure there's a mod for that anyway.
There is a mod for that, yes. There is a tree brush.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, sorry, we're not at the end. You got unique buildings they can build. You get these by completing certain tasks. And I've somehow completed this one at some point. So, if you wanted to build it, you'd go and place it. They're usually pretty big. They're kind of like landmarks in Cities Excel, except they don't take time to build.
I'm not familiar with that. What do they do?
Yeah, they're special.
Maybe Age of Empire Wonders or something?
Kind of, but they're really just like the parks. They're just buildings that are like parks, as far as I can tell. They cause noise pollution usually, but they're kind of big things to have in your city. So I've got a grand library here for building a lot of universities.
Okay.
So, and that's a cool thing to have in your city. And oh, it's for tourists. That's right. Yeah, tourists come to see those things. So you get tourism, and tourism gets you money.
Of course.
And it's sort of it's this thing you don't really see. It just happens.
Yep.
But it's pretty cool. Once you've built a bunch of these in a certain amount, so this is required for the Eden project, as it says at the bottom, you can then build the Eden project thing wherever it is. There it is. So once you build that, you basically get a fancy version of something.
Right, okay.
And this is... I don't know. It just says making land in the city more valuable.
Okay.
And I've already built the space elevator, which apparently causes an influx of tourists. I don't know about this.
That's pretty funky looking.
Yeah, it's quite large. I cannot see it fully. Too many buildings. This is the Colossal logo. Colossal Empire? It's Colossal... I'm sorry, I've forgotten the name of the company. Colossal Order, that's it. That's the, that's one you can build.
And who are they?
They made the game.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
I'm sure that looks nothing like the real building.
No, I think that's a little bit maybe wishful thinking.
Yeah, wishful thinking.
But
One
yeah,
can dream.
One day, I mean, they did make a brilliant game. If they make a few hundred or so more of these, maybe they can do that. But yeah, that's all my water system.
So what are the pros and cons of this game overall?
Well, it's pretty in-depth. It's fairly simple to get into though, and it's fairly easy to play. I'd say it's probably the easiest city simulation game I have played.
Okay.
Out of all.
Easy or accessible?
It's definitely more accessible, but except for maybe SimCity 4.
Okay.
But it's definitely easier. Like straight out, much easier. I would by now be coming up against like a brick wall in another city simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them, either with traffic or pollution or not being able to get any kind of balance with taxes or anything.
Yeah.
But this is surprisingly simple, and I might as well show you that now. So here you can see your bank balance, your tax income. Right now I'm getting 7 grand from tax. I keep a very fine line in terms of making money.
Yep.
Even though I've made like 3 million so far. If you click on the economy tab, you get a whole bunch of economy stuff that's sort of a bit overwhelming to look at, but it's fairly simple. It's just your 3 types of thing and how much your public transport is costing you.
Yep.
As well as your tourist income. So this is all income. So this is the income that you get from taxes and whatnot.
Yeah.
This is the expenses that you get, that get taken out, that is. So if you look here, public transport costs me 64,000.
Bloody hell.
And that is because it's free, but I'll get to that in a second. This controls your taxes for each individual item. I got them fairly high, but they seem to be happy paying them because I'm treating them quite well.
They seem happy.
They are. So I have barely touched this since I started the game, or since I kind of got access to these parts of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So my garbage facility is on maximum, my health is on maximum, my fire is a little bit up, education is on maximum, public transport, buses are on maximum, so that means there's more buses. And each thing handles more money differently, but it's generally, public transport, there's more. And for services, they work further out from where they are. And that's why I have the garbage one maxed out, because I have most of my garbage in a certain spot in the city.
Yeah.
In a certain polluted spot. And allows all the garbage trucks to be able to go out into the rest of the city. Pretty much the whole way. And loans, I've taken out one loan before and repaid it pretty much straight away. Just to get one of the buildings, because one of the buildings requires you to be in debt. So I did that, got rid of it, done.
Bit of a fine line between your income and expenses though.
Very fine. I have gone over a little bit, but I always get it back by basically planting a lot of parks and making people happy. That brings more people into the city and ups your taxes.
But you have 3 million in profit, is that?
Yeah, so you can get like millions pretty quickly and pretty easily. At the moment, my income's not as much as it has been because I planted a lot of schools and stuff that like in Amity Park in order to get them up. Schools are probably a big expense actually in terms of that, because they just, yeah, they cost a lot, and I have a lot of them. Yeah, 57,000 only eclipsed by health, which I have a lot of as well. And you've got the population. I don't know if you can see how happy they are, like in general, but you can click on the individual people. Let's find a person. Sir, madam, sir.
Get him.
Aspen Campbell.
Happy.
Is a educated teen.
Oh.
Going to the Aspen... Sorry. Going to the Birdson residence, which is here. And this is a maxed out building. So this building basically has all the services available to it. And they're happy. Except they can hear the sound of the space elevator right here. But I'm guessing they don't mind.
That's mighty loud.
Yes. Well, you know, you got the space elevator in the middle of your city. Who would do that? I've got a roundabout here. Here. It's hidden, but it's here. Just thought I'd show that. I'm very proud of it. Because it was the first roundabout I built. And I had to upgrade it like 1,000,000 times to stop the traffic freaking out.
Seem to have the traffic pretty sorted at the moment.
It's taken a long time. Right here, this is only because... Well, this is only because a police car has crashed into the train.
There you go.
There we go. But also there's always a queue because they take so long to get in and out of the train station. And they all like going to this one, even though there's one here and one here. I mean, they go to it, but they don't go to it in, you know, ridiculous amounts.
Yeah.
But yeah, the traffic is very tricky. You can very quickly just cause a massive backup of cars. And this is why my entire city is two-way roads. So dual lane, two-way roads. Or single lane dual, I don't know. Cow? Hello, cow?
You have a cow in your residential area.
No, I have I have a cow in my cow area. This is a farm.
Random paddock.
Yes, it is a random paddock. Okay, well, I'll show you the last thing that I really need to show you.
Okay.
Which is policies. So these are city-wide policies. This is a feature that the game has that I don't think any other game has, or any other city builder game has done. This basically allows you to set certain things either throughout the city or in a district. A district-specific policy.
Are these political policies, or...?
What?
Are these political policies, or...?
These are all sorts of different things. They're not political as such. Some people might think that they're a little bit political. But, so you've got things like power usage, water usage, smoke detectors, recycling, and education boost. And they all basically increase the effectiveness of whatever it is that you choose. So power makes sure that it basically makes people conserve power.
Okay.
But it costs per building that you have in the city. To do that, I'd rather just build like 1,000,000 solar power plants because that's cheaper. Water usage, the same. They use less water. And you have to pay for it. Smoke detector, so I've got the smoke detector thing in because I get a lot of fires. I've built fire places everywhere, but I still managed to get a few fires, so I've got that on. And that costs per building as well. Pet ban is just awful. Why would anybody do that? But that reduces garbage. But recycling reduces garbage as well. And it just means that I get less taxes.
Okay.
Which is fine. I'm fine with that. Smoking is increased health, decreased happiness. They all have like a downside to them, basically. Yep. The parks makes the parks work better, but they cost way more.
Are they trying to say that smoking makes you happy?
Yes. Education basically increases my education budget, which is the downside, and making all the citizens educational, which is probably why these guys keep crying out for workers, because everyone's very intelligent in my city. And we've got down to these two. recreational use of controlled substances. So you may consider that a little bit political.
Oh,
but,
okay.
yeah, you get taxes from it, so that's brilliant. Isn't it?
Drags? Drugs!
Yeah.
What the hell are drags?
I don't know. Drags? Yeah. Moderately increased tourism costs and decreased crime rate, of course.
Excuse me?
Yep. And you have to increase the police budget, though.
Oh, of course you do.
And the free public transport, basically you don't get ticket income. So you have to pay more.
Mm-hmm.
But they use public transport more, which I haven't seen, but I've had this on since the start, so I don't know.
You should turn it off and see what happens, see what chaos ensues.
I may do that in the end. Anyway, taxation. These are all like temporary tax changes, but you can do that on the thing, so it's mainly for districts, so you can change the district in relation to the global tax rate. That's sort of what that is. And yeah, tax relief, tax raises, fairly simple idea there. I think these have the same thing, yeah. And city planning. This basically helps certain areas of like building stuff. So the small business stuff and the big business stuff, but double the sales, but it costs. And this is the same. It doubles the amount of goods that they produce, which would give you more taxes, but you have to pay for each building. For example, I've got high-tech housing on, which increases the land value, but I have to pay per building, which is why my tax rate kind of goes down when I add residential buildings, but goes back up again when I add business and whatnot. RS bands. I haven't actually looked at this before, but it stops buildings from being upgraded. I don't know why you would do that, but sure. And heavy traffic basically stops heavy vehicles, and that's really good for traffic management because they can be quite a lot of them, and they're slower and they're awful, and they just get in the way.
Okay, cool.
So you can stop them going through a certain area. They'll have to go around, which is good for managing. Basically, if you have a better route for them, they'll go that way if you ban it from where the game kind of sets them by default. So that's that, pretty much. Let me turn off the free public transport, see what happens. In the meantime, I'll just see if the traffic's any good in this area. It's pretty extreme here, but yeah, the overlays just show you the various areas that have different services. They're similar to the ones that you have when you build. This has like the levels of the buildings. High level building means you get more taxes from it, etc, etc. All my buildings are pretty much maxed.
Yep.
Which is that one. Traffic shows your traffic. Right now it's pretty busy there, but it's not stopped completely. There's just a few cars trying to get through. There's quite a few trucks there, but again, that's fine. The train lines are terrible for traffic, but that's the trains, so I don't care about that. And there's a bit of traffic down here. All in all, pretty good, but it can get pretty bad too.
Okay.
What do we got? What do we got? Pollution. So I got a bit there for the incinerator, bit there, bit there, bit there, and obviously a tiny bit here. But that's okay. We don't have to worry about that. Only Foggy District has to work about that. And they've run out of rubbish places, apparently.
It's only a little bit.
Yeah. Noise pollution is quite bad in the farming areas. It's those damn cows roaming around. Actually, no, it's not. It's logging.
Cutting down all those trees.
Chainsaws.
Sure.
Trees screaming as they get destroyed.
Probably.
Something like that. Average noise pollution is pretty high actually in my city, but not too much I can do about that, I don't think. But you can put like barriers up. noise pollution barriers for your freeways and stuff,
Okay.
which makes them a little bit better. In fact, a lot better than like having literally anything else, it seems, next to them. And then fire safety, crime, transport. That allows you to see all the public transport lines, so I've got them running pretty much through the whole city, except for this newer area here. Yeah, that's it, pretty much. And each color is different service, which makes sense. Population, that shows you where they are. How many seniors, adults, children. I have a lot of seniors, that's not good. I'm not getting taxes from them. And they may die en masse at some point.
Right,
which happens. And then we have a massive dead people problem. Outside connections, that just kind of shows the health of the sort of import-export economy. Tourism's pretty good. So we got a diverse range of tourists. Land value is very important. Lighter colors, green is high, but white is low, so it makes it kind of hard to see. You kind of got to look for blue instead.
Yeah.
It's kind of, this area kind of sucks. But this area, for example, is just ridiculously expensive. And it's brilliant. I love it. And this area on the Oak Square. Such a happy neighborhood area.
Apparently so.
Yep. There's natural resources, I've already shown you that. And the different districts, which I've set. And leisure. Unique buildings are separately listed for some reason. I never knew that, but okay. And then, as you just heard, I got a tweet. This stupid little thing pops up messages that are relevant to your city for the first about 20 minutes or so, and then it just gets annoying. Because they just repeat the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
So I have like a million things about smoke detectors saving cats.
Right.
Because I have the policy set that gives everyone smoke detectors for free. And it just does it over and over again. To remind me that I set a policy.
Yeah, sounds a bit annoying.
And yeah, so I ignore that completely now. Because there's nothing that it tells me that I don't see on this map. Because icons pop up for everything. So yeah, that's a niggling little thing. But yeah, aside from that, my city is handling public transport not being free surprisingly well. I guess they can afford it. And I'm making a lot of money, so...
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I've got to show, really. It's a brilliant game. I highly recommend it. From Colossal Order. And published by Paradox Interactive. Cities Skylines. Brilliant game. Buy it. Everyone should buy it.
Alright, glowing recommendation from you there.
Yes.